All right, buckle up everyone, because this case has all the drama you'd expect from a tense courtroom showdown. Today, we're diving into the People versus Colette Haynes end. Trust me, this one's a roll. At the center, we've got Ms. Haynes, a defendant battling both her legal troubles and serious health challenges. On one side, prosecutor Victoria Haar is determined to prove the state's case. On the other, defense attorney Caroline Foster Tucker is fighting to keep her client out of deeper trouble. The twist: we're not talking about some flashy new crime, but a bond violation, something that can seem small, but in reality, it can make or break a defendant's freedom. Here's the kicker. Colette claims she missed key appointments because she was hospitalized for diabetes complications. Sounds valid, right? But the judge isn't buying excuses, so is Ali, because nearly 30 days have passed without compliance. The tension between personal health issues and strict legal requirements is about to explode in this courtroom. As you watch, keep this in mind. Is this a case of genuine hardship, or just another example of a defendant not taking the system seriously? Stick with us, because what happens next might shock you.
Colette Haynes.
All right.
Thank you. In regards to the PCC, Your Honor, we are requesting an adjournment just for some continued negotiations.
All right. With reference to the violation.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Haynes is prepared to admit to the bond violation today and provide an explanation.
All right. I'll accept the admission, but what's the explanation?
Your Honor, it does state in the bond violation report that on the 22nd, when she reported she was visibly ill at the time, she explained to me that she has diabetes, and shortly after that went into DKA and did have to be hospitalized for a few days. So unfortunately, she ended up missing that new scheduled appointment as well as her first PCC. After missing the PCC, she did contact me, and we worked to get this case set to do a bench warrant recall. So she is willing to test. She is willing to comply on bond. She is sorry that she missed that appointment, and she's hoping to have an opportunity to go touch base with community corrections today and reschedule.
Thank you.
Here's where it gets complicated. The defense is arguing that Colette's missed appointments weren't intentional. She was hospitalized, dealing with a diabetic emergency, and then confused about how to reschedule with community corrections. That's a very real medical struggle. But legally, courts operate on a simple principle. Responsibility doesn't stop when life gets messy. If you're out on bond, you must ensure compliance, hospital or not. The judge is clearly signaling frustration. 30 days passed, and Colette still didn't resolve the issue. To put it plainly, courts expect follow-through. And here's a question for you. Should health crises excuse someone from strict bond requirements, or does personal accountability always come first? Let me know what side you're on in the comments.
But okay, I hear what you're saying, but when I look at this, all of the events that I have in this occurred at basically toward the end of September.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm now almost 30 days out and nothing's been corrected.
And Ms. Haynes indicated to me that she wasn't aware that she needed to make contact with community corrections because she had the bench warrant.
I didn't know that I can just go back there and.
Yeah, but once the bench warrant was cleared, that doesn't even make any sense to me.
They told me that I had to wait when first they told me I had to do it online.
Do what online?
For the bench warrant.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I didn't know that the warrant was cleared until I come to court today. And
What do
I
you
thought
mean
I
you
needed
didn't know it was cleared?
Another referral to go back to community corrections. I didn't know I could just walk back in there and do it all over again with a warrant. I tried to come up here and walk in on a warrant, but they told me that they only do it once a month, at the end of the month on Wednesdays. And that would have been yesterday, but I had received
Yeah, but where were you between that? All of this occurred September 2nd. I get what counsel's telling me, that at some point you're in the hospital for a few days. So even if that takes me to the end of September, which is giving a lot of grace just in terms of time. I'm now here on the 23rd and nothing.
Because they told me that I could not walk in on the warrant. And I didn't know that I could just go back to community correction.
You have an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And Your Honor,
I was contacting the attorney, and when I was contacting the attorney, she was telling me that she didn't even, well, it was a he. It wasn't even her. It was a whole different attorney I had. We were texting back and forth, and I was asking him questions, and he was saying he was in court. He don't know. He'll find out. And then he told me I could do it online, so I just did it online.
and Your Honor, I will say, Ms. Haynes does want to resolve this case. She did make steps to take care of the bench warrant and to get the case back on track. So she's just hoping for another opportunity.
She's here in a drug case. Since the beginning of the case, she hasn't tested.
Understood, Your Honor.
I hadn't tested, Your Honor, because I didn't know that I could just, by me missing mine, I didn't know that I could just go walk back in. I thought I needed another refill.
At this point, the excuses are piling up, and the cracks in Colette's story are starting to show. First, she says she thought she couldn't just walk back into community corrections. Then she blames miscommunication with different attorneys. She even mentions trying to clear things up online. But notice what the judge keeps coming back to. No drug test results on file. That's the elephant in the room. In a drug case, failing to test is like waving a red flag at the court. Without proof of clean tests, every excuse sounds weaker. And this is exactly where many defendants stumble, thinking confusion or technicalities will buy them more time. But to the court, no compliance equals no credibility. Here's a thought. If you were in Colette's shoes, facing the risk of jail, would you have kept pushing for clarity or just shown up at corrections until they processed you? What would you have done?
Or I would have went over there and walked in and
It's
said,
not as though you didn't have an attorney, whether it be the previous attorney, whether it be Ms. Foster Tucker, to tell you what you could do regarding community corrections, if anything. But, you didn't abide by community corrections. You didn't appear in court. You get the court thing cleared up, but then you had the other thing. And I still, from the time of year, I don't have a test on you.
I can go take one today. I can go over there right now when I leave here. But I just need to know, am I
You want to
assigned?
say, I will adjourn her probable cause conference to October 30th, 2025, 9 a.m. Anything you want to say before I send you on the violation?
No, sir.
Well, at this point, she's not complied with everything. I'm going to revoke her bond, sentence her to 7 days, Washtenaw County Jail. Defendant's remanded.
Is there a way that I can get somebody? I have my daughter here with me,
Ma'am, you probably shouldn't have done that.
but she only had a half a day of school today.
Ma'am,
Come on this way.
they'll figure it out.
Okay, good. Let me get her this.
Yep, I'll give it. One back.
Ma'am, go with my bailiff now. Now.
And there it is, the hammer drops. The judge revokes Colette's bond and sends her to 7 days in county jail. Why? Because at the end of the day, explanations didn't outweigh the hard fact that she hadn't tested or followed through. To make matters more heartbreaking, Colette had even brought her daughter to court, which the judge scolds her for an emotional reminder of how family members often get caught in the crossfire of these cases. The takeaway here is clear. Bond violations are not small matters. Courts expect defendants to take every step, no matter how inconvenient, to prove they can comply. For Colette, the mix of illness, confusion, and missteps ultimately cost her freedom, at least temporarily. What do you think? Was the judge too harsh, or was this the only fair ruling? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you found this breakdown as eye-opening as we did, make sure to hit that like button. Share this video with someone who follows courtroom drama. And don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping legal moments. You won't want to miss what's coming next.